Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm doing a new type of video. Usually I do gameplays or montages, but this time I'm gonna tell a story time because one, I'm out of content for now, two, I'm bored, three, I am slowly losing my sanity. But about the not having content, I'm gonna try, like, starting from this video, I'm gonna try my best, because usually I'll do like one upload, two, then I'll be gone for months. I'll be trying to upload like at least 2 times a week. I'm gonna try to be pumping out new content 2 times a week for you guys, because let's be honest, I'm not the greatest uploading. Usually I make jokes, to be straight up, I'm not the best. But starting something new with story time that just happened yesterday, and with all that said, let's get into it. So this story happened yesterday, and I have 9 periods in one school day.
I shouldn't be surprised.
7th period, I walk into class and it's freezing. So I put on my hoodie. Substitute teacher didn't have a problem with it. Like, that 7th period substitute teacher did not have a problem with it, because it was freezing in that class. Even she had a coat on. A few other kids had their hoodies on, so it was all good. Bell rings, go to 8th period. I didn't take off my hoodie, I forgot. I'm in 8th period. My teacher didn't say anything about my hoodie. She didn't care. I sat down. Teacher makes an announcement. It's like, I gotta go to a meeting. You're gonna have a substitute. Just do what I need you to do. She leaves. Substitute comes in. Now, this substitute right off the bat is annoying. Like, her voice is annoying. She acts just like a Karen, which a Karen as a school teacher, it's annoying. But so in this little quote-unquote group she mentioned, I'm in the middle. Well, yeah, technically I'm in the middle. Ahead of me is my friend Corey. To the right of Corey is, we're gonna call him Bobbert, because you know it's the one I play with, the one I call Bobbert. Behind Bobbert and to my right is Keyshawn, and behind me is Robbie. In front of Bobbert is this kid named Joey, I don't know, but throughout the day, or throughout the class, teacher is like going off. She went off on 2 students in the front of the class, and then caught Bobbert on his phone, took his phone, caught Joey on his phone, took his phone, kept yelling at Keyshawn to stop swearing, kept yelling at Robbie to stop swearing. And you know, throughout this entire day, I'm sitting there, I'm doing my work like I'm supposed to do. I got done early, I turned it in, and 2 minutes before the bell rings, I'm like I'm shaking in that class, and even with my hoodie on, I'm still cold. And the teacher walks up to me, is like, you can't leave with that hoodie on. And I figure she meant exactly what she just said. I'm not allowed to leave with it on. So I was like, I'll just take it off before I leave. And 30 seconds later, she comes back. She was like, I don't care that you have it on. Now listen, she said, I don't care that you have it on. So I'm like, then why is she talking to me? I didn't say that though, I was thinking that. And she was like, but are you going to take it off? Like everybody around me is hearing this. And I just nod my head as in I'm going to take it off. And she did that little like finger thing people do, where they put their finger out. And she's like, I'm calling security. Walks up to class. I was like, I said I'm taking it off. All my friends like turning back. And I explained to them, she's just said she doesn't care I have it on. And I just said I'm going to take it off anyway. And like, they're all yelling at her for it. And you know, I just take off my hoodie. 10 seconds later, I took off my hoodie like she kind of asked, but I still took it off. And I took it off before I left. Bell rings, everybody's walking out of class. My hoodie is off my body. I do not put it back on in the hallway. But we're all leaving. Substitute teacher stares at me while I'm leaving. She doesn't tell me to wait for security. She doesn't tell me to sit down. So, you know, I just I didn't know she actually called security. I didn't hear her talk on the phone, so I thought she was just bluffing. So I walk up to ninth period, almost a whole hour after that whole little thing happened. In eighth period, you know, it's the last period of the day. Again, like 10 minutes before the bell's about to ring for me to go home. We just got finished doing what we were doing, and teacher walks over to the phone, picks up the phone, because you know he was getting a phone call, so he picks up the phone, and all I hear was go, Tyler, like asking, like, reassuring. That's what they meant. And he's like, okay, hangs up the phone. He's like, Tyler, Mr. Brown wants you. Mr. Brown is one of the principals there. I'm like, oh my fucking god. I knew exactly what it was for. So I had my hoodie on. Again, I don't know if I already said that, but you know, I was about to leave, so I had it on again. I walked down to that class. I walked down to Mr. Brown's office. And she's standing there with her arms folded, like leaning on one of her feet. And she's like, oh my god, he still has it on. Looks at Mr. Brown. And Mr. Brown's like ready to laugh because of this girl. And I was like, because it's 10 minutes before I'm about to go home. I'm ready to leave. And Mr. Brown was like, Mr. Tyler. I was like, what was the purpose of saying Mr. if you can say my first name? But I was like, yo. He said, I heard you had a situation last period with this substitute. And he was like, come around front. Because, you know, there's a little window I was talking to. I come around front. That teacher's waiting there to hear the conversation. And before Mr. Brown talks to me, he turns to her and is like, you can leave. And she leaves. I'm pretty sure because he knew this entire thing was bullshit. But, you know, she leaves. He talks to me about it. And I told him what actually happened. Because she said I was the worst one in the class. You know, the kid who had his hoodie on that took it off when you asked. And the kid who did all his work. It was the only one that was done. Only one done early, too. Matter of fact. I was the worst one in the class. Not the kid she flipped out on. Not the kid she took the phones from. The kid who did his work and did what he was supposed to do. I was the worst one. And I told him what really happened, about how all this other stuff happened. And I took it off when she told me to take it off. She didn't tell me to wait for security, so I left. And he was like, because of all that, it's because first time I have to talk to you about anything. Instead of a 3-day suspension, I'm only going to give you 1 day. And, you know, he was cool about it. And he said, well, since a teacher came to complain to him, he has to do something, otherwise he's in trouble. So, like, I mean, that's reasonable. You still had to do something. But instead of suspending me, you could have gave me a detention. Now, you know, I'm not like one of those kids like, ooh, I want to go to school. No. I didn't care that I wasn't supposed to go to school. I was just annoyed that the teacher complained, made the story so much more dramatic than it actually was. And I still got suspended for it when I listened to the rules. But no, he still could have gave me 30-minute detention after school instead of suspending me for a whole day. So, like, whatever. You know, he was like, just sit in the waiting room, and then he said there's 8 minutes to the bell rings. Just wait for the bell to ring, and then you can leave. I was like, okay. You know, I sit down, other stuff happens, but it's not really that important. Bell rings, I go home. But while I was in there, I texted my mom what happened, because, you know, he called my mom, but she didn't answer the phone. I texted her. She called me while I was sitting there. You know, I wasn't going to ignore the text from my mom, or ignore a call from my mom, so I answer. And I was basically like, I'll just tell you when I get home. I get home, call her. I called her at like 2:30, 2:40. And she was like, alright, I'm at work right now, I'll call you back. I thought she'll call me back like 30 minutes later when she has time to talk. I get a call 4 hours later at 6:40, like 3, from her, and I told her what happened. My stepdad was on the phone, told her, so he heard it too. They both kind of agreed that that entire thing was kind of bullshit, and the teacher was like just trying to bitch about it, just because. And how, again, he kind of suspended me for listening to a teacher, and they both agree that he could have just given me detention, but, you know. Next day, and that's the only time for like the past month I've woken up by myself to go to school on time. But, you know, I was suspended, so I woke up, and I like kind of annoyed I woke up this early, because I can't go back to sleep. So, you know, I've just been on the game all day. Trying to do the challenge me, Shane, and Robbie made. Or Bobbert made. you know, that's about it. I just wanted to complain about a teacher complaining. But that's about it. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button if you want to see more of this. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.